use it now.
Okay. Chair, we'll go ahead and call the Macon County Airport Authority meeting to order. And let me say that we're happy that all of you are here this afternoon. We appreciate you coming very much. And we appreciate having a new member with us today. And Richard Rhodes, he's been officially sworn in as a new member of the Macon County Airport Authority. So we're looking forward to working with you, Richard, and I know you'll be an asset to our board. And we work really hard. And usually when we have a new member, we have initiation. We required. But all jokes aside, thanks for being willing to join us and serve, give your time. And it's we don't make a whole lot of money, but we have a lot of fun.
Are you referring to dinner at Fat Buddies for Richard?
Once a year.
Once a year.
That's right.
Just for new members.
Yeah.
I want to thank the Airport Authority and the county commissioners for the opportunity to serve. I know how important this airport is to Macon County and what it's going to be. It's a great asset to Macon County. And it's a privilege.
Yeah, we've got a lot of things in mind to do in the future, and you'll be part of that. So I think you're sworn in for a 6-year term. Is that right, Teresa?
Actually, no.
Took Harold. So be
Yes, so
Finish out
it'll
his
be
term.
finish out that term and then be sworn in for the full 6-year term after
Yeah.
that.
You can shake it any time you like, but you can never leave.
That's the airport, California.
That's right. Yeah. Except for those fumes.
Okay, our first order of business is to approve the minutes from the meeting that was held in June the 24th. We didn't have a quorum at that particular meeting, so we didn't get to approve the minutes before for the month of
May
May.
27th, yeah.
So we got two meetings to approve the minutes. So Chair, I entertain a motion that if you had a chance to read them and they meet your approval. Chair, entertain a motion that they be approved.
You're the only one here. Have that meeting.
You don't approve your minutes, but I don't know.
I'll move for approval of the
Chair,
minutes.
Supposedly, anyway.
Did we get a second on that motion?
I'll second.
All right, okay. All in favor, say aye. Okay, the motion to approve the minutes for May and June has been approved unanimously, so we thank you, Teresa, for keeping the minutes. She does a tremendous job keeping the minutes for us. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, if you ever need to know anything about anything that's going on in the past, give her a call. She can bring you up to date. No one here for the public session part of our meeting, and we always, of course, appreciate the press being here for making news, and I don't see anybody here today from the Franklin Press, but we're glad that you're here.
Glad to be
He
here.
does a good job for us. He really does. We appreciate it very much.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, we need to elect, first item of business is to elect a vice chairman to take the place of Mr. Corbin. While you're thinking about that, let me read a card here that she sent out to the authority. Get my glasses on, that might help me a little bit. It says, thank you so much for the beautiful flowers, for each kind act. Thanks very much. And she goes on to say that Harold enjoyed so very much serving with you guys. He will miss you, Neil, and your breaks together. God blessing to each of you, Dean. So we appreciate Dean sending us that card. Thanks. we will miss Harold. And Harold served on this board, I guess, for Teresa for about 10 years. I served about 2 years on it, yeah, I mean, about 10 years.
It's before I started.
Yeah, so Harold was very faithful to the board, and we appreciate all the contributions he's made to this airport and to, of course, to Macon County as well. Okay, the chair will open the floor for nominations for a vice chair, and I talked with Gary Smith about 30 minutes ago. He's in Wisconsin, our show. But he said he
Sound like serious then. And I knew you didn't know.
yeah, if you don't get nominated for something, yes. Any other nominations?
Make a motion, nomination cease.
Your second that? Okay. We have a motion that nomination cease, and we'll elect Mr. Smith by acclamation. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Ayes have it. We'll break the good news to him when he and we'll have certain projects that we can assign to him while he's away, not due to defend himself. Okay. Jim, we're glad you made it to our meeting today. We appreciate you being here, and we know you have some a good report for us and where we're at.
I'll
Where
tell
we
you where
going?
we are.
Good.
Okay.
You're the man.
Some of you probably noticed your 12.5-foot widening on each side is completed. All the testing's been done on that. It was accepted. All the densities met, all the tests that needed to meet. And once that was completed, they were able to mobilize their edge drain contractor who's been installing the edge drain. I understand from last night, the electrical contractor should start up tonight. I think they delivered some equipment yesterday, so they'll start running the cable for the edge lights. Still on schedule to shut down Monday to pave the overlay on the entire width of the runway. The first process is to put down what we call a surface treatment, which is going to be tar and gravel, basically, to try to help mitigate the cracks and stuff around the existing pavement. Once that's down, that'll probably take about 2 days, what they're speculating, and then they'll do the overlay, which puts you 2 inches of new asphalt on the full width of the runway, with 12.5-foot widening on either side, plus the full length. Scheduled 24-hour round-the-clock operation. The contractor has indicated to me that he's only going to do nighttime work, and quite frankly, I prefer he doesn't pay you at night if he can keep from it, because this is the final surface. We want it to be as smooth and clean as possible. So his progress will probably drive that. Right now, he doesn't intend to try to do any nighttime work regarding the pavement during the shutdown period. He thinks in that 7-day period to accomplish what he needs to. Once that's done, there'll be some temporary marking put down. The runway will be able to be opened back up with temporary marking. Within 30 days, once that pavement cures some, we'll come back and get the final marking done, and hopefully by that time, that'll be like the last thing to be done. Everything else should be ready to go. Lights energized, everything checked out for the final. We'll call it good. And Miles had contacted me last week about some fog on the taxiway and the runway. We've really been trying to keep our handle on that. Got on Robbie, our inspector right here, pretty good about it, and he got on the contractor. Hopefully they've taken care of it, but if you see anything, anybody, don't hesitate to give us a call. Like I did mention, that contractor kind of went back on him and said, well, some of this stuff necessarily isn't all mine, which I'm not pointing fingers at who it is, we're not, we're just saying it can't be there, so we want it cleaned up, the contractors cleaned it up. So if you guys, he did mention, hey, guy, might have been driving out there a little bit and stuff, and not all rock, but maybe some grass or whatever. But just be conscious, we're trying to stay on top of it, but if you see something we don't, that's one thing they do every night or every morning before they leave, is to make a run, make sure everything's good. Can't always catch everything.
No, that's true. We appreciate that very much.
And I've cautioned them with this new seal coat that's gonna go down, or the surface treatment, that's a lot of gravel. You know, you put it down and then it gets broomed off. So within that 7-day period, hopefully before we leave, we'll get everybody else to go out and take a look, make sure you're satisfied that they cleaned it up, so that if something happens, you know, the contractor can say he cleaned up and done what we enticed him to do. There's there's a lot of waste material in that gravel when they put it down, they'll bring that off, and then they have to collect it up, and then put another lift of it down. It does create some gravel that we'll have to make sure gets taken up. That's kind of where we are. Things have not progressed, I guess, as well as we'd like for them to, due to some weather situations and some situations existing as far as moisture and stuff. Some of you folks aren't aware of the fact that we had attempted to do some crack signaling on the runway and had to drop back and pick another method because we kept having moisture seep up through and the stuff with bonds. Hopefully these edge drains are going to help take care of that in the future and get those installed. I went back and looked at some of the history. I'm not real familiar with everything that's happened out here, but apparently we've had 2 widenings on this runway in the past, from 60 to 75, now from 75 to 100. So it's very possible that somewhere in those widening scenarios, we may have a little deeper pavement section than in others, and that can help trap stone, or trap water in the stone, and it can't migrate to the edge. So that may be some of the issues that we're having with pumping up. Now it should be raised to a slope for the edge drain, and that's picked up and put to the inlets and the outlets around the fields. Any questions? Neil, everything been going okay with you?
Yeah, we had, the thing with the fog last week, but once they were made aware of it, then they addressed it very nicely.
Okay.
I need to know definitely, because the questions I get from people flying in and out, do I correctly assume will be fully operational through Sunday, and then starting Monday will be closed? I'll put the NOTAM out for 5 days, 7 days, what?
7 days is what's scheduled right now. And I'll have that verified and have Robbie come tell you an exact time, but it's supposed to be basically 6 o'clock Monday
Because I'll
morning.
have to cancel the NOTAMs, from the 8 o'clock until 8 a.m. and then initiate the one that will just be shut down for 7 days.
And they'll put runway closed markers in position like they're supposed to, and
Okay.
everything, so.
I've got a question. Are they gonna run automatics on the resurfacing on the, reason I'll tell you why I'm asking, out there, and you probably know about out there where the old runway and the come together with the last extension there. There's a pretty good dip in it right there.
Yeah.
And it's a problem with turbo props and jets coming in there.
We've been made aware of that, and we're gonna take a look at it. There is no grade correction in this project. We're basically overlaying 2 inches on what's there, so. it
But if you're
mimics-
running automatics, if you're running the
Yeah.
slope, I think they have to run slope and grade on
But
it.
we'll try
With
to,
ski pole, if they do, that's gonna take some of it out.
we're gonna pull some string line across that area and see what we can do to help work that out.
Will they actually be working that weekend of the 9th and 10th? Because if you do 7 days, that's Monday through Sunday.
That's right.
Will they actually be working Saturday and Sunday?
That's their intent, or they have the opportunity to
This
do
coming
that.
month?
Yeah. If they finish up, we'll let you know that, but by contract, they're allowed to work those 7
Yeah,
days.
okay. Well, I'll do the NOTAM for 7 days. If they finish early, then I can just cancel it early.
Hopefully, we finish in 7 days. Not to extend it, but yeah, that's the intent. Pete, anything else?
Okay, does anybody have any questions about anything for Jim?
You gonna update on the grants or anything, or you want me to say something about that? I think everything's in play now, as we had a couple months ago, we had a little stagnant time, but everything's up to speed.
Okay, while we got you on the hot seat, I got your email about the contract on the design work. I couldn't open it.
For the taxiway.
I couldn't open it, print out it.
Okay.
I could open it, but I couldn't print out my computer, print out
No problem.
So the language that you put in there, I think, would certainly satisfy me. That we would be helped.
Didn't bring
Have you got a copy of it?
I did not bring a copy of that with me, I don't think.
I was geared up here to maybe do some business with you today. You didn't-
Well, don't let David know that that's my fault that I didn't bring it. But yeah, I did not bring a copy of that one.
Can I go back for just a second? do you happen to have anything about the shortfall?
You saw the email I sent to you?
That you sent it to them?
I sent it
Okay.
to
Gotcha.
the apron grant had a DVE shortfall. In other words, the contractor didn't spend as much money on his DVE contractors as he had stated he would at the time of the bid. So when the project's closed, to close it out on the DOA side, they have to have what we call a statement of shortfall. So they're looking for a letter from the contractor to state why he didn't meet the DVE amount that he had agreed that he was gonna pay. I had to go back and do a little bit of research, and obviously that contractor changed names during the process. Taylor Murphy went to the NHS or whatever they're at, but I found the project manager, talked to him. He was on vacation this week as of last Friday, but he told me to send it to him last. Supposed to spend $12,264. I think he spent $3,200. So that difference is what the state wanted to know. But this guy's telling me that there was about 5 acres of seeding, but they only did a couple of 3 acres. So he should be able to find that out. He's just got to go back to that subcontractor. Get the paperwork turned in.
Jim,
That being,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
that being said, the state did issue a new grant to the county to accommodate the overrun that you had in the, I think it was $30-some thousand, probably doesn't know off the top of your head, that we were trying to get back with. So
Jim, if I may, let me just kind of briefly summarize what we had talked about as far as authorizing you to go ahead with the design work on the taxiway. And what I understood in this last agreement that you emailed, that you would hold the Macon County Airport Authority harmless of any payment that would be due you for any work that you did on the design work if we did not get funded by the county.
That's
As far as, so in essence, I think that's the way I understood it. And so I think with having put that in the contract, I see no problem with go ahead and authorize you to go ahead and do the design work on the taxiway.
I really appreciate that.
And get started on it. And so when we do get funded by the county, then you'll be off to the races. Okay. And so that probably comes sometime in November, I'd say, before we get funded. My opinion, November or mid-November something. But by that time, you probably have the design work pretty much done. So what is it? You figure take about 90 days, 30 to 90, 60 to 90 days.
Yeah, first thing I gotta do is get the surveyor turned loose, so I have to schedule.
So
him back in.
if, I want to bring it up before the board and see how the board feels, and I'm just saying this is my personal opinion, because I've worked with you folks for longer than I want to mention, and I found that you know, straight shooters, and it wouldn't bother me a bit for them to sign a contract with you.
I appreciate
under
that.
those terms.
Well,
But
let me add.
it'd be up to the authority
Right.
to sanction.
Our fees come out of the grants, so what you pay WK Dixon is reimbursable to the county under the grants at 90/10, or whatever the grant amount is. It's typically 90/10, sometimes they're 50/50 on buildings or whatever. That being said, we have a 5-year general engineering contract with the authority to do your design and construction observation type work. And when we build the county pays us, and then Teresa submits for reimbursement to the Division of Aviation for reimbursement. You were offered a grant that you have not yet accepted to do the taxiway design and bidding for the parallel taxiway rehab. The county has to, at some point, put a local match to that of 10%, and I don't think that's happened yet.
We haven't asked for it yet.
You haven't asked for it yet. When we had presented a couple of months ago, I think it was back in May, our work authorization to be considered to allow us to start the design, because we would like to get that backfilled and get ahead of this thing on the taxiway design. It was brought up that you wanted some more assurance in that statement that we would not be obligated to receive payment from the county until the county had an avenue to get reimbursed from the Division of Aviation. So we put that language in the work authorization that we understand we're at risk, if you will, to move forward with this until the county gets a grant. We won't get paid, and we're fine. If you guys run with it, we're fine with it.
And when our attorney asked you to put that, write the contract and put some different language in there, I think that pretty well cleared it up for us, as far as I'm concerned.
Why would either side want to do this? I mean, you would put you at risk, and how would we, you know, it's just not good business. It's not good business to enter into a contract with such speculation, because my understanding is you all will start doing some work, and probably bills will start coming. At least I understand in the past we've had situations where bills start coming to the county and there's no funding mechanism to pay them, but it creates another layer. But correct me if you can add or subtract from that, but it adds a layer that I cannot, from a legal standpoint, suggest is good business practice. I think it's just premature. I'm here as the counsel for the authority, so with the pleasure of the authority makes the decisions, and that's what we do. But that is, it's troublesome to me for a lot of reasons, in that we don't have funding, but we're entering into contracts as if we did.
Well, and I take your point, what you're
Right.
saying, yeah.
Mhm.
But as far as good business practices, that's a different issue. That'd be up to them. I mean, they're the ones going to have the liability.
You're
not
right,
us.
they would be the one who would have the effort put out and
So
possibly
if
no
we
funding.
can, well, what I'm saying is, if we can help expedite this project without any liability, I mean, I think on our part, I think it would be good business. They're the ones going to be holding the.
And I think we're doing it, obviously, we want to do the work. We
Yeah.
feel like it's gonna come down the road.
Well, we feel like it will too.
Yeah, of course, we all feel like
Yeah.
that.
And so,
in the spirit of that, once we do that design to get a bid on it,
That way they'd have a jump on it. and
yeah, I know it takes some time to get the design work done.
When you
and you'd have a
expect
jump
for
on
it to be bid out, I mean, next year or?
as soon as we would get finished, and that's what I'm saying, this contract would take us through bidding, so at that time, you have a hard bid number as what it's gonna cost you
Yeah,
to do
so we know
construction.
exactly how
And we
much that's
can
the
go
county
to
for.
the DOA with a
If you go until November, then the bidding will probably not happen until December, January, but no construction would be
It
able
wouldn't
to
be till next
happen
spring.
until April.
Yeah, you're not gonna pay until next spring.
So I think you'd be just getting a head start by.
And we
like
know
you say,
exactly
they're taking all the
what we need to go to
liability.
the county
Yeah.
for matching.
Yeah.
That way.
And the state's gonna know what that construction dollar
Right.
is, so they can be positioning you for funding.
I'm fine with it myself, it's up to y'all.
I would appreciate you
I'm fine with it.
giving
I
favorable
mean, It makes
consideration.
sense to me, I mean, to go ahead and, because county's
Johnny, how do you feel
not out
about it?
anything.
I'll bring it up to motion here and get a split
I'm
vote.
fine, I'm just, you know, I wish we had a copy to look at, I'll be honest.
Well, I've got a copy on my computer, but I can't get it on. Well, I can read it on the computer, but it
No,
won't,
no,
it
that's
won't
right,
print.
you know, as long as, that hold harmless provision is in there.
When can you get us a copy of this?
In the morning.
In the morning? Okay. Shoot it to her on her computer, she can look it up. If you will, and.
If I'd known, I would've brought a copy today.
Yeah, well, I thought I could print it off, so about 30 minutes before I came down here, I tried to print it. I said, oh, no.
And I don't know if you had, I don't know if we left you a copy the first time with the old one.
You did, but it didn't have that language in there.
Right,
that
so
he
I'm just
wanted.
saying, if they were to
Our
see the
attorney
old one, if you got a
suggested
copy, all
put
we
in.
did, I can tell you exactly what we added as far as that footnote, that,
Yeah.
you know, there's no obligation from the county to pay the consultant any
Right.
fees associated with that work described until at such time there's a grant in place for the
And
county.
if the grant that never came, the county would be liable for
Right,
that.
you just have a nice taxiway design sitting in our drawer too.
Right,
Which we get, which we never see.
At some point in time, though, it's gonna be done.
Yeah, absolutely, it's gonna be done.
Well, the taxiway
With that, we hope it's gonna be done shortly.
is about bad shape as the runway was.
That's right.
It needs to be resurfaced, it's in real bad shape.
The state's pavement condition index shows that end as failing, it's black on their chart.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I would move that we accept the proposal, subject to council, taking a look at it tomorrow. Do it at once, I think we need to do that.
Yeah. Okay.
That'd be fine. Appreciate that.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Update on the, agenda item number 7, update on the ground maintenance. Pete, would you care to address that? Before we say anything, let me thank you and your daughter for all the work you've done down here at mowing. It looks good, and you've done a lot of mowing. His daughter been mowing down here for a month.
She enjoys it.
So is that it now?
Yeah. It's mother than most days. And the Richard, you got some kids want to learn? He said he can get my bed. We came down and mowed a little bit around, got a little bit closer, got some of the high grass out, so they know, the flags were still up. But I knew there wasn't any wires out there, so I went ahead and had that mowed. And then out here on the front, we had mowed it and kind of cleaned around the shrubbery there, but we Roundup out here in the middle, and it's still coming back, so I'll go back and remix my Roundup, so I'm waiting to see what happens on this next bit. We got a lot of trash going up, and Miles knows very well that we got a lot of stuff in the fence. The county, I think, is getting ready to round up the fence. I think they'll probably do that this week. They didn't want to do it. I asked one of the mowers, he said, well, they don't want to do it with all the rain, because it kind of dilutes the Roundup.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They said, 3 hours, but he says it's better if you leave it on a couple of days. So apparently they're aware of it. And other than that, we just had to plug along. Our money, we were a little short, not much, about $187 balance in books this year. Pulled down the fund balance. That's how close we were. Right now, the power utility bill on the runway is on down for some reason. We don't know why. I guess it's called the lights are out. So we hope.
Neil's gonna be our lifesaver. They had a good couple of months. So by the time we get our draw from him on the fuel cell, we'd be in pretty good shape.
And and we also, just from a maintenance standpoint, we had the air conditioning unit. Franklin Sheet Mill came down and redid it through the county. Let's see.
Did the game issue ever good?
That's one that I was going to say right now with the new, and you're going to talk about the hay bill. I think what we need to do, and Miles, I think you'll agree with us, we'll have to have some more keys for these gates, because these guys can't get in. They don't have a gate key. And there's no gate keys down here. If somebody does want in, we should have a key down here for FBM, so something happens, we can always get in somewhere else. It's not any good for us to have a key at home. We have to drive down here, and that's not fun. But also, we need to talk about this a minute. Look, right, make sure he understands what we really want done, because they were mowing out here yesterday when I was down here, so apparently knows what he's got to do. But if there's any other questions, he's crossing the runway, and I'm not sure if the young kid that knows about aviation. Planes come in, you got to be looking for them. They come in fast. So that's something we need to talk about.
Yeah, he needs to be.
And that's just in the future too. I mean, down the
Aware
road.
of it, that's dangerous.
I think they're out using in the hayfield, and they don't really worry about, they look at it as a road, I guess. But something we need to look at for safety issues, if something was to happen out there. But that's all I got. We'll continue on mowing grass a little bit till school starts.
We appreciate it. You're doing.
I see two other over there. I see two other air mowers over there that train very easy.
You're doing us a real favor, Pete. We appreciate you. Is that all you got to say?
Well, we got an AWAS bill here, and the AWAS technician came in, called it from Alabama, came up here a little bit, 3 weeks early to do the AWAS. He said, I'll go ahead and, he checked it out in here. We found we have two good unit, we call it the plate. The cards, and there's two more. I mean, the one we have was good. He checked the ohms on it and said that's good. It wasn't making a good connection in the telephone system, though, so that saved us another card. But we did get a bill from Jennifer from AWAS, and we thought that the state would pay for it. And they're saying not. Jennifer Ford also said that they're not paid for by lightning strikes. We need to contact her back, and I don't think that we consider this a lightning strike, because we just said lightning strike, so that's what we called it. He said there was no damage out the other place, and he said it's just a failure. So whether or not we have to pay it, it's about $700. So we might get that down and pay it, if not, state may take it up. So it's not a lightning strike, what do you think?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, how old's your AWAS? Most of the AWAS is in the state now, or on the state maintenance system. In other words, they do maintenance periodically through a subcontractor, which is Vassal.
That was it, he was here today.
Okay.
And that's, he understood, he said, well, they take care of it, because I think we've got a minimum of $1,700 in there just for maintenance. And he does it every 4 months, and that's on a state contract. And he said that they would take care of it. Apparently, they're not going to take care of it.
They don't if it's lightning. They would make your
Well,
insurance cover that.
I think we only said it was lightning because everybody thinks it's lightning.
So you may want to.
But when I talked to him dad, he said, well, it's not necessarily lightning. I said, well, why did you say lightning? So anyway.
They didn't pay the last two either. You remember, we still got one AWAS that invoice that the county's paid that we haven't been reimbursed for. So I don't know if that's something new or if they're kind of skipping over down here or what. Because they didn't
We
pay the
need to
last two
straighten out whether or not
AWAS.
it's a lightning strike, if it's covered or not. I don't know where we go from here. Just
Well, I'd go back to Jennifer.
Yeah.
Get your guy, whoever did
Yeah.
the repair work, to state it wasn't lightning, and he feels like it should be under the state maintenance contract.
That's what I told him today.
What's his name?
Darren, something. I guess, he's the one that does ours all the time. But anyway, that's all I got. We just-
Okay.
And hopefully on the energy bill, this new runway lighting system is going to be LED, so hopefully you'll see a decrease in your power usage there too.
Okay, I got one more question. When they do that out here, what happens to the box out here? I mean, there's modified temporary to be, we're not replacing the box.
The regulator? Yeah,
Oh.
it's sized already. Those lights actually pull less power, so the regulator could be kind of, I won't say it's oversized.
When I talked to him at the meeting, he says, when you do that, you need to eventually change that box out. And then probably when we do the taxiway,
Taxiway and add that new circuit.
put it in the circuit, make sure it's in the bid, and get all that done at one time. Because this is antique stuff here. He can verify that some of the stuff we get, it's costing us to find the parts now. Okay, that's all I got.
Okay, thanks, Pete. Appreciate your work very much. Okay, we need to take care of a ground lease with Mr. Drake. I believe our attorney has got that ready for
Yes.
us to.
Based upon some discussions with Macon County Capital Authority and Drake Enterprises, as we were finishing up this long-term lease, there was a little question about an obligation that the authority had or didn't have regarding continued paving connected to the tarmac. And the way we discussed concluding it was adding an additional year to the end of the lease. Mr. Drake looked at it and surmised that because there were going to be a few months late getting into starting anyway, we should go ahead and add a few more months so he would have another effective year. None of us will be around probably, I think it's 2035, but hopefully we will. But, and I prepared that modification. Tommy, you don't have any reason to believe that it's not satisfactory.
No, I talked to Theo a couple of days ago. He's ready to get it.
Okay, so really, it's just a short modification of lease. It's in exchange for any waiver on their part of any rights they may have claimed against the authority and whomever foresee any additional paving. We agree to extend the lease into including June of 2035, which is effectively a year's usefulness of the lease on the end. And everybody thought that was a reasonable way to resolve a relatively minor issue. I have it prepared. It's been approved by Drake Enterprises, and it's just a short page and a half, not a whole lot to it. I just would like to get a formal vote from the board to go ahead and authorize the chairman to sign it.
I move for approval of the amendment to the lease, I guess it's what.
Modification.
I think it costs him a lot more to put that in than that extra year. Well, actually, probably, but that's all we could work out. So. he's saying.
I think it's
They're
satisfied.
satisfied.
Yeah,
They're satisfied.
yeah.
So I make a motion.
Here, second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries.
I'll give you a clean copy
Okay.
tomorrow, so we
Okay, very
can
good.
sign it and get it done.
Okay.
That's all I have.
We have a bill that we got last week. I think it's this one here. If you would, just pass that around, Richard, if you would, let Tom look at it. This is a bill we got from, what's his name?
Jason Brown.
Jason Brown, claiming that he put down fertilizer on this, that he's asked for a $1,700 reimbursement since we give the aid to another fellow, Tebow. I don't think that we didn't have no signed contract with him. I never met the boy until this past week. And it'd be my recommendation to deny this, because if he put that much fertilizer down, nobody's seen it now, it don't show, so I'm not keeping it.
Mr. Chairman, if we didn't have an agreement with him, signed
no
or
agreement.
verbal, or nobody saw him put it down, not that we call him into question, but we just don't have any.
You have a leg to stand on.
Any proof.
No.
So,
So
I would say that might help people out, but we didn't have an agreement with him. But I think moving forward, that anybody who's doing that work needs to understand any improvements or fertilizer, whatever they put out there, they can come to us and have permission.
So he was just under the impression that he would get the contract to be able to get the hay for the season that he was gonna,
Basically, there's no contract.
but the rights, So based upon that, he went ahead and put some seed money.
Yeah, his dad originally had it, and they had a falling out, he took over this, and dad did something else. So, and we didn't know he had it, we had no idea he was doing it. So that's what boiled down.
yeah, there's
So there's
nothing in
there.
there that we can find that where the board had given me any kind of authorization.
Right.
to do it.
It's so odd, so strange, he just come out and do that without any
This
assurance.
company here, I don't know, Coastal Agro Business Incorporated,
Coastal Agro.
they were supposed to put it down.
No, I don't know who put it
Just
down, that's
bought it
who,
from him, I think.
I think that's just.
Yeah, but he's asking for lost profits, basically from the hay.
But he,
Was that the theory that if he?
yeah, he put down the fertilizer, and he didn't get cut it this year.
So he's asking for the fertilizer plus the lost profits. Good luck on that one, Jason. I know Jason. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Can't recommend that we'd have to present something a whole lot more than he has so far, more than that.
Well, for the record, the chair will entertain a motion that this request be denied. It's that simple.
I'll make a motion.
Your second? All in favor of this motion, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carries. We'll give this, if you hand that back to Teresa, to put it in file in a minute. Okay, other business?
Mr. Chairman, I got one question. about
Sure.
that. When's the Pappy's gonna be in operation? I mean, it's been, what, a year since we've had the Pappy's last contract? Pappy's have been out there, and FAA was supposed to come and certify them a long time ago, and they still haven't been certified or anything, and they're still not commissioned to be used.
I looked at that, I think Miles asked me about that a couple of months ago, and I got the subcontract from the surveyor that's supposed to do the survey for the design of the taxiway, and that's part of his work to do what they call the OCS, optical clearance surface survey. Once that's done and validated that you don't have any obstructions out there, a flight check would be requested for the FAA to come to them. I don't have the time.
Yeah, incidentally, could you shed any light on exactly where we are as far as getting our certification is concerned about the obstruction?
That's
That we
part of
removed that part of the whole
the
deal?
survey, yeah. It's tied into that. He's got it. I didn't print it out, it was
If you would, Jim,
$9,495
could
for
you?
this design survey, and then there was a couple thousand in there for the approach certification and survey. Joel Johnson. So,
Okay, if you don't care, would you check with the FAA and see whoever you need to talk to, either FAA or whoever's makes that decision about, I guess maybe somebody in Raleigh.
no, it would be, the FAA sends out their obstruction data. They'll send it through the state, but they'll send you a copy as well.
We've been a while trying to get this certification completed. And I'm worried a little bit about it because it could jeopardize some of our funding if we don't get the thing done, get it into it. At least that's the threat I got some time back.
Yeah, I don't think there's any issue there, but it does need, so you can use it, it needs to be certified and turned on. But you used to be able to go out there and have like bars of pilots doing the electrical work, come out here, put a cylinder on there and check it, make sure everything was good, sight it at 3 degrees or whatever it needs to be, and we call it good. And now FAA wants to do a flight check, so they have to go back to another department and schedule a flight check. And typically those costs are grant eligible, but there is a cost associated with flight checks. Now they don't go for free either.
Well, we just want to be in compliance as long as we don't get nailed or something that blindsided, that we maybe should have been on top of.
One question, how about when Jimmy Capps was here, he said if then the runway it needs to be cleared along the creek bank. Is that going to impact that?
I would think not. I hadn't looked to see what height he thinks those approaches are. But
They're getting up there, but he said it's going to have to be done.
I think that's 3 degrees what it requires, and it's,
Yeah,
that's
you're way above the creek from that.
yeah, Pappy's usually 600 to 1,000 feet back at 3 degrees or so, so you got a pretty good angle.
How far is the FAA behind, about coming out flying?
I couldn't tell you that. Yeah. They have scheduled increments that they come do flight checks. If they're in the area, they can come by here, but once they're notified, they'll provide you a date, or the FBO a date and do that. And you have to have an electrical contractor on the ground to make any adjustments while that's going on, so that'll be a coordinated effort to be done.
It's good that they do that because they were a little low.
Oh, yeah. Especially this one was, 7 was pretty close.
Now, one thing the FAA just started here a couple months ago, you used to get a certification request from the Division of Aviation that your 20-to-1 approach certified that it's clear. And that's based on starting out at a certain distance from center line left and right, which is usually 200 feet, so you got a 400-foot bottom to this trapezoidal shape. The FAA now is looking at every airport, even though you may not have C and D category aircraft used in your airport. They're looking at C and D requirements and imposing that, and that's an 800-foot wide base to this trapezoid. So it gets bigger. So what's happened is some airports a couple of years ago did all their certifications and were in compliance with Division of Aviation's request, and now that's being shrunk. Having to go back and do a new survey, and there's been discussions, the FAA's talked about it, DOA's talked about it, as whereas it puts a burden on you, the sponsor, because you gotta go pay a surveyor to go back out there and do it, and you wanna know where you're gonna get your reimbursement from. So they're trying to work out some memorandum of agreement between those two, FAA and DOA's, to, how's this gonna be paid for? It's not just North Carolina, it's all over the country that they're looking at. Yeah, and that makes sense. A lot of airports, if you're 3,000 or 4,000 feet, you don't have a C and D category aircraft coming in.
Well, they wouldn't require C&D if you didn't have a precision approach on either end, would you?
They're still looking at that, because they're looking at GPS approaches and things. That's how.
See, we don't have one,
Right.
we don't have one, which we need one. But I was saying that they wouldn't actually ask for the C&D category if it didn't have the approach on the front of it.
What they're supposed to do, and I haven't gotten around to this yet, is to put it on the plate that C and D category is not applicable to your airport, or either at nighttime, or whatever the case is. But they're still working that out. But right now, we've had several airports, Shelby's probably the latest one that I'm aware of, that the FAA in Oklahoma City sends them a Google Earth image and got an instruction pinpointed out here and says, you need to validate that this exists and tell us how you're gonna mitigate it. And they're like, well, we just certified 2 years ago, there's nothing out there. Well, it turns out that footprint's 400 foot wider now than there was initially. And
That's what we're worried about on the Ramsey property. All of it had to come out.
and sometimes you don't own that, in a lot of cases, you don't own that property. But I'll see what I can follow up on
Yeah,
that.
okay, appreciate it.
But us getting involved to complete the survey, that's in Joel's contract when we do the taxi redesign. He'll come out here, shoot that approach, check the obstructions, and then be able to certify it. If you can't certify it, you'll just identify what's there, and then we'll have to come back to you and see what's going to be done, if it comes down on what we can fix it.
Mr. Chairman, is there any money for clearing? No.
Not in any grant.
Let come here and read
I understand Mr. Ramsey passed away. Oh, did he? Albert. Yesterday, I believe, was it? Yesterday.
Right. Day before, I think.
Day before yesterday. Yeah. I didn't know it till today.
Diane is, well, Margaret was up with Diane. Albert's wife. She wasn't here when he passed.
Okay. Other business, Tony, you have anything on the advertising?
I'm still working.
Still working, okay.
I did make some phone calls, but I'm getting stonewalled. But I'll proceed.
Okay.
I'll have a report.
Okay, appreciate it. Any other business that we need to, Neil?
During the week of the closure, do you want me to have this place fully staffed for those 5 to 7 days with the airport shut down?
Well, that's a good question, Neil. I hadn't thought of it.
Well, what I anticipated was really just have a skeleton crew.
I think that's probably all you need down here. If there's not gonna be no traffic in and out, I mean, you know, take a vacation.
Well, I got, the following week, I have to go get my niece settled in college, but, you know, during Monday through Friday, certainly there's not gonna be any
No.
aircraft activity.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Is the helipad gonna be open? Or is it shut down and everything?
Everything's shut, airport shut.
The notice will say the runway is closed, it'll say nothing about the helipad.
So they could,
That's a separate.
that's one of the Forest Service asked about that one time before, last year when it closed for a while.
Well, the only helicopter traffic as far as governmental we've been getting in here is highway patrol.
They've already got all the marijuana left, but didn't find anything.
Strike that comment.
Well, I'll just plan on.
That's out of order.
I'll have somebody here to answer the phone in case it rings, but that's about all we'll be capable of doing. Because, you know, contractually, it says I'm here 7 days a week, and we will be.
Okay. All minds are clear, no other business to be considered. The chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Your second. Second. We're through. It's over, we're adjourned.
So we'll come back in.
What did she say?